AFR Talk. Back to that Chris Christie thing. One of the things that makes that a serious issue. I mean, you've got a columnist in New Jersey. Brian Fisher is my name, by the way. The program is Focal Point. The network is the American Family Radio Talk Network, AFR Talk. You've got a columnist, I don't think it's a lawmaker, but a columnist calling for Chris Christie to be impeached. And part of the problem is that these lane delays, when these booths were closed, these off-ramps were closed, backing up traffic, is it delayed EMS vehicles, ambulances and paramedics from getting to people that needed medical attention. One woman was 91 years old because the traffic was backed up. It took them twice as long to get to her, and she wound up dying in the hospital. Now, they're not saying she died in the hospital because it took them so long to get there, but clearly it's possible that was some factor in her deteriorating health. So we have not seen the last of this thing. This is not a scandal for Chris Christie that's going to go away anytime soon. And the attorney that has been appointed to look into what Chris Christie has done here, get this, is a fundraiser for Hillary Clinton. And he was passed over originally for the position of U.S. attorney because George Bush won the election and picked Chris Christie. So he's got a guy. Here is a guy who was passed over in 2000, and the job he wanted was given instead to Chris Christie. He's been a hardcore fundraiser for Hillary Clinton, and now he's the guy that's been appointed to look into what Chris Christie has done. I certainly expect that he will get a fair and even treatment from him. A couple of quick items before we go to the phones, 888-589-8840. Charlie and Shelby, hang on. I'll get to you in just a second. And again, we're a full-service radio program here. We deal with the entire range of issues that affect American lives, and I want to give you a heads up. Plan ahead for the Super Bowl, because Kraft Foods is warning us that there is going to be a shortage of Velveeta. So you want Velveeta for the Super Bowl, you may want to get out there and try to see if you can stock up. They're not explaining why there is that shortage, but sure enough it is. And if we had time, we would offer a moment of silence for Larry D. Mann, who died this week at age 91. He was the voice of the character Yukon Cornelius. Jeff, I'm asking you, Rob, I'm asking you, Yukon Cornelius, what cartoon was he in? What animated feature was he in?
No idea.
He
wasn't, no.
Yukon Cornelius. Now think Yukon, you're thinking winter, you're thinking an animated TV show that has to do with the season. Up in the Yukon.
No, I'm thinking of the little Yosemite Sam guy, but no.
Now this is Yukon Cornelius from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, yeah.
Yukon Cornelius, 1964, and Larry D. Mann, who was the voice of Yukon Cornelius, has passed away at 91. We'll encourage you to offer him a moment of silence at your leisure. Then one other item from the European Union. I mean, it just shows you this nanny government is everywhere. Now in the European Union, they're trying to crack down on Danish bakers, get ready for this, who are putting too much cinnamon in their pastry rolls. They have violated some kind of cinnamon threshold in their pastry rolls, and so European Union-based regulators are trying to crack down. And these Danish bakers are complaining. They're saying, look, the Swedish bakers, they can put all the cinnamon they want in their pastries because they call them something else. They don't call them cinnamon rolls. They call them traditional and seasonal bakery. So they can get away with putting all the cinnamon they want in their pastry rolls. So that's all going on over there in the European Union. Well, let's grab a call from Charlie in Shelby, Ohio. Charlie, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Well, it was the homosexual agenda that's going on that you did in the last hour.
Yes,
That is, I've been advocating on a website that I frequent, and I'm terrible about this. I keep forgetting what the studies and stuff that you put up there for this. What was that study that you put up on the last hour?
It was from the American College of Pediatricians, the one that were saying that children need a mother and a father.
Yes.
That's the American College of Pediatricians.
Okay. That's their most recent study.
Well, they published it in March of 2013, and what they did is they brought together a lot of social research on the subject of parenting and science and biology and genetics, and they published their conclusions in this paper. I see. All right, does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. Thank you.
All right, you're sure welcome. All right, thank you, Charlie. 888-589-8840 is the number to call. So let's get back to these sound bites. Let's grab clip number 3 and 4, Rob, if we can. Going back to Ralph Peters saying, look, this is as low as any president in history has ever gone. For the president to have soldiers and Marines and Navy corpsmen killed or maimed in a war that he does not even believe in and doesn't believe he could win. That's just low, and this is a direct quote from Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, experienced military guy, as low as any president in history has gone. I said yesterday this is reprehensible, it is cruel, and it is inhumane. One of the things that in just war theory, and this is one of the problems with President Obama being so disparaging of Christianity and Christian theology, one of the elements of Christian theology, political theology down through the ages, has been the concept of a just war. And two of the principles of a just war is that your cause must be just. You must be fighting on the side of what is right. Well, President Obama didn't think he was. Remember, his sympathies are with the Islamic faith. I wouldn't be surprised at all if his antipathy in sending our troops into Afghanistan was that they were going to be killing Muslims. And that offended some basic sensibility that he had, because his sympathies are far more with the Islamic faith than with Christianity. So he didn't believe in the mission. So you shouldn't go to war unless you believe your cause is just and right. He didn't. So it's wrong for him, from a moral standpoint, to commit American troops to risk their lives for something he doesn't believe is even right. That is horribly wrong, because blood is being spilled, lives are being shortened, people are being killed. And the other thing about a just war is you must believe you can win it. In other words, it's not just, according to Christian theologians, it's not just to commit your citizenry, your soldiers, to a battle that you know you're going to lose, or you are convinced you're going to lose, because they just become cannon fodder. And if you have a place of value on the sanctity of human life, you don't want to take that risk with human beings made in the image of God. Well, President Obama did not believe that the mission was going to succeed. In fact, he was convinced, according to Robert Gates, that it was going to fail. So if you believe in a just war and the Christian theology of a just war, this is horrible what President Obama did. Now, Jake Tapper, here in clip 3, talking about the fact that Gates' book has some implications for 2016. Jake Tapper first in clip 3 with CNN, then we'll play clip 4, Chuck Todd, NBC, and I'll set that up, Rob, before we play it. But remember, this thing made Joe Biden look terrible. Let's listen to what Jake Tapper says, reporting for CNN, about the contents of Robert Gates' book and what it says about Joe Biden.
Well, the criticisms are fairly strong. Now, most people have not read the book. Most people have only seen the excerpts, and the excerpts, of course, as reporters do, are the most controversial parts of the book. But there is a lot in the book that could be very damaging in terms of, first of all, Vice President Biden's prospects to have the former Secretary of Defense say that Biden has been wrong on nearly every issue of international relations and counterterrorism in the last 4 decades is a very strong criticism. It's basically an ad, a TV ad for the 2016 campaign cut against the sitting vice president. And then the criticisms that Gates makes are very strong about the president not being fully invested in his own Afghanistan policy. For example, and there are a lot of other criticisms spread throughout the book. So I do think there is a lot that the administration will have to respond to.
So the Democrats are thinking Joe Biden is one of the front runners for 2016, along with Hillary Clinton, and Jake Tapper saying, look, this is horrible. for Joe Biden, because here's a guy that was an insider in the Obama administration. He saw the conduct of this administration, including the conduct of the vice president. And he said, look, this guy has been wrong on everything that matters for 40 years. I mean, who's gonna want to vote for a guy that's been on the wrong side of every international issue for 4 decades? I mean, he's making it abundantly clear, Robert Gates is, that this is a man that is completely unqualified to be the leader of the free world. Now, Chuck Todd says, look, there are some implications in this for Hillary Clinton, who is the front runner for 2016. She's already out there running. You can bank it. You can take it to the bank, ladies and gentlemen. Hillary Clinton is in. They've got some kind of shadow campaign thing with an email coming out from Wesley Clark. She's running. They're offering bumper stickers and everything, so she's in it. She's in it to win it. And Chuck Todd, NBC, says, look, there are problems for Hillary Clinton in this book as well. Let's listen.
This quote is one of the most intriguing of the book. Quote, Hillary, Gates writes, told the president that her opposition to the 2007 surge in Iraq had been political because she was facing him in the Iowa primary. Of course, the caucuses, but this only reinforces one of the biggest knocks against Hillary Clinton, that she will say and do anything to win.
She will do anything to win. She will say and do anything to win. And again, talking about the fact that Hillary Clinton admitted and Barack Obama admitted in Robert Gates' hearing in his presence that their opposition to the surge in Iraq back in 2007, that their opposition was purely political. They were running against each other in the primary. They didn't want to be perceived as warmongers. They wanted to be perceived by the Democratic base as anti-war. So for purely political reasons, they decided that they were going to oppose the surge, not because they believed it was bad or harmful for American interests, but because it was bad for their own political careers. So that's one of the things that emerges here, not Biden so much, but obviously Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton come across in Gates' portrayal, at least from what we've seen so far, as people who are not motivated by a concern for America's national interest, America's national security, America's national defense, but they are motivated almost exclusively by a raw, naked ambition for political power. Dangerous combination. Focal Point, AFR Talk.